Hello everyone. Hello. We're now live. Welcome to Charlie Tolhurst. I'm Charlie Tolhurst for the day, the 16th of October. We've got lots of news, and I'm joined by party supporter Zach Chambers, round up all the latest news. Hello, Zach.
Hi, Charlie. Hello, mate.
Looking all wrapped up tonight by the looks of it.
There's a reason for that. To be fair, mate, I've had a bit of a stiff neck the last few days, so I'm having to use this little wrappy, woolly thing on me to keep my neck nice and warm. And not my fault, unfortunately. I've had a bit of a stiff neck, but it's necessary and keeps me nice and comfortable, which is the good thing about it.
Yeah. Oh, and my just taking a which my sorry guys, I've had a incoming something incoming's going now. So I'll keep you updated with all that. I just want to say that I am live tonight, live on YouTube. God, it's all coming off tonight already. My messages, my inbox is filling up already. Oh my goodness, Jesus is here. We're going to kick off the show by talking about the latest news, and as always, let's start off with the news from the government now. And can I just say, Jeremy Hunt has arrived back in the government now as the Chancellor of the Exchequer. Now, Kwasi Kwarteng got sacked on Friday morning to dismay of many Tory MPs who now see Jeremy Hunt as the new Chancellor and could be Chancellor for a long time to come, given we've had Kwasi Kwarteng was only in post just over a month. How many chancellors do we have this year? Crazy already. But the Tory party are in denial with Liz Truss as Prime Minister. Liz Truss is unfit to govern. The press conference, which was on Friday, which was unscheduled, only lasted 8 minutes. She took 4 questions from the mainstream media in probably what was the worst performance I've ever seen from a Prime Minister in my life. I'm going to say that in my own words. Truss looked deranged. She looked just lost in the transcript in that conference. She really didn't look like a Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. Well, if Rishi Sunak, or Fishy Rishi as some people calling, is waiting in the wing, could that about to be changing? Zach, for Liz Truss this week, it has been a disaster for her and her Conservative Party premiership.
Oh, it's certainly been one of those weeks, Charlie. I mean, it's certainly one of those weeks. I mean, where do we even begin to describe this week? I really don't know sometimes. Where do we even start to begin? Well, it was the usual week where the bond markets were having an absolute mare. The bonds were 20-year bonds were reaching 5% of just to explain the bond market, it's something like the amount. If it's like 5%, it's the amount that costs to borrow money from government borrowing, in some words, over a certain period. So the 20 over the markets, the 20-year bonds was I think was at 5% at one point this week. And the Bank of England's emergency pension scheme is now ended, by the way. So just in case you're wondering, as well on the Friday. But it also bond markets hit 5%. Lots of conservative backbenchers were getting restless with the support that they were offering as well. I mean, you think about it, a lot of backbenchers were opposed to like some of the measures, and then Mel Stride was very open. The select committee chair of the finance committee was very open about the fact that there probably had to be more U-turns. He ended up quite right. On Thursday, Kwasi Kwarteng was at the IMF in Washington. They had a conference there, and then the rumors going around that there would have to be a further U-turn. This time on the cut to business to the corporation tax rate, which is due to go up to 25p next year from I think it's April, which is originally the Rishi Sunak plan. Now Liz Truss wants to get back down to 19%. Now on Thursday there was rumors going around that that pledge, which obviously Liz Truss was going to do in the Conservative leadership race and to the public, was going to be dropped. Kwasi Kwarteng, number 10, dismissed it at the time. So yeah, she dismissed it at the time. The number 10 dismissed it at the time, and then Friday morning. This was very early Friday morning. Kwasi Kwarteng was summoned back to number 10 in London from the IMF, cutting his journey, his day he basically ventured out to America short, and we didn't know what was going on at the time. We thought he was going back to negotiations to number 10 as well to approve this. What we didn't know was that approximately, I think it was approximately 11:30 that the Stephen Swinford of the Times was reporting that Kwasi Kwarteng was about to be sacked. Goodness me, going from one of the closest allies to being sacked within 6 weeks of the Premiership. It's quite something, Charlie. We didn't know who the replacement was going to be. It was confirmed, I think, about 12:30 that Kwasi Kwarteng was indeed sacked and asked to stand aside as Chancellor after having to perform the latest U-turn to the corporation tax change as well. And then before 2 p.m, we got news that Jeremy Hunt was going to be the new Chancellor of the Exchequer, replacing Kwasi Kwarteng. And we had that diabolical performance from Liz Truss at 2:30 press conference, where 4 questions was taken in a total of about 8 minutes. That press conference, which wasn't really a press conference as well, didn't reassure Tory MPs at all. And then Jeremy Hunt's been on the broadcast around Saturday and Sunday, and goodness me, what a U-turn of Trust-onomics it really has been. He's talked about the fact that the government went too fast and too quickly, and went too much on some of the tax cut plans, especially on the 45p and the corporation tax deduction that was due to go in place, especially as well on that. He thinks he went too fast. And now it appears that Jeremy Hunt, I don't know about you, Charlie, but Jeremy Hunt is now the most powerful man in Britain. He's technically the de facto prime minister. And there is talks about this the other night about the 1p deduction in income tax that could be delayed by a further year. We don't know the case of it, case of it yet, whether that will be. But it looks like we're going back to, rather than high borrowing and low taxes, we're going to have spending cuts and high taxes from Jeremy Hunt. It's a complete change in direction, and a quite worrying change of direction as well, you have to say as well. If you think unfunded tax cuts has been doing well, then goodness me, think about tax increases and tax cuts. Spending cuts. It's going to be quite something to see. The reaction of the weekend to Liz Truss's announcements has really put the Tory party on nails. Look at this. This is Andrew Bridgen. You may remember him from wanting David Cameron to resign, from wanting Theresa May to resign, for wanting Boris Johnson to resign, and he's now calling for Liz Truss to resign. Andrew Bridgen, most famously, out of I have no confidence in absolutely anybody at all. It sounds like quite a bit of a movie scene. I saw this meme going around saying of this one chancellor every month. So one chancellor in July, one chancellor in August, one chancellor in September, one chancellor in October. We might have to create a 4-year crack candidate for Andrew Bridgen, who's done the last 4 PMs asked to resign. It's quite something about that as well. But there's now 3 of them, Charlie, that have come out tonight and have said that Liz Truss must resign and go. Jamie Wallace, Andrew Bridgen, and Crispin Blunt on the Andrew Neil show tonight. Basically coming out and saying you must resign. I have to say, it's 6 or 7 weeks into the premiership of Liz Truss, and we got to the resignation stage of things. That is quite stunning, isn't it? It just shows you how toxic the mood is on the backbenches and how fed up they are of the leadership already. It really is something. And there's rumours we could have more letters of no confidence going this week. I mean, technically, Liz Truss is exempt from no confidence rules for a year, but the 1922 committee could always change the rules, to, make that invalid and have a confidence vote straight away. I mean, there's rumours. I think there was 100 letters could have gone in, which would have been enough to trigger a confidence vote. And if that's the case, then goodness me, Charlie, who knows what the result could be if those 100 letters have gone in as well. But yeah, the mood is bad, the direction is bad. Labour are loving this. This is just such a terror. This is just a diabolical hellhole for Liz Truss. I mean, let's just be honest, Charlie. She was the one that put Kwasi Kwarteng as Chancellor. Kwasi Kwarteng executed her orders, and now Kwasi Kwarteng has been sacked for doing what Liz Truss has been telling her to do. Let's just be honest about this. And now we've got Jeremy Hunt, who's basically, whether you agree or disagree with him or not, on many things, whether he's competent or not, he's basically running the country now, not Liz Truss. Let's just be honest about it. Liz Truss is his prime minister in all but name. It's Jeremy Hunt that's technically taken over number 10 and number 11. And whatever you think, I'm not sure necessarily everybody voted for that. Let's just be honest, Charlie.
I don't know why I'm looking up this here, because if Liz Truss was to go next week, she'd be probably the shortest serving prime minister in history of the United Kingdom. Look at the list here of prime ministers who are the shortest. So Alec Douglas Home was the shortest living prime minister at the moment, with 1 year and 1 day. He became prime minister in October 1963 after Howard Macmillan resigned as Conservative Party crisis. During the old-fashioned out-attack, Douglas Home was narrowly lost the 1964 election to Anglican pipe-spoken Harold Wilson. His premiership was fairly unremarkable with an aristocratic background, seeing him pitted against trade unions, but nothing much else was known. He was crafty enough to kidnap his own fall, as 2 left-wing students attempted to abduct him, but was easily paroled as well. You got Anthony Eden, and the shortest current living prime minister is Gordon Brown, 2 years, 310 days. That was because Labour lost in the general election, and Gordon Brown actually took over from Tony Blair, who stood down, I think, in 2007 or 2008 or something. So could we be looking at the shortest ever prime minister, just over a month? That's a very short time.
I mean, it's quite a load of history to tell you. Look at all those prime ministers that haven't been around for very long. I mean, Gordon Brown, in fairness, got kicked out via a general election. Let's be clear that Gordon Brown got installed in 2007 and 2008 when obviously Tony Blair had his time and he decided to call it a day. They didn't go with the membership vote or leadership election. They found a success in Gordon Brown. And then Gordon Brown's time came up because he lost the general election in 2010. He didn't get kicked out by his own party; he just lost the general election. The public voted on that as well, Charlie. The public had his say. They voted the Conservatives in, and Gordon Brown was kicked out of office. So that's the democratic way to do it. I think it's now time for a general election, because if you think about it, Charlie, we are now going from prime minister to leadership to leader. It's a sad excuse of a government. That's not democracy at all. Time for the people to decide who's in charge, who really should be in charge now, because I think it's becoming a lot more pathetic, Charlie. Complete and absolute pathetic. It is just what the backbenchers and Liz Truss is trying to do is save their own skin from Labour defeat. They know a defeat to Labour is coming, and they're just trying to minimise the damage. But they're going to prolong this, or they're going to shorten this. Whatever the method they do, they're going to lose regardless, in my view, because they're so stupid enough to know what they're doing is catastrophic, and what they've done is by their own situation. Liz Truss's situation, the Conservative Party situation, all of this has been caused by their own incompetence and, danger to the country. They are a danger. The Conservatives are a danger to this country, and they'll continue to be until they sort their crap out, and which I don't think they will. I do not think they will.
What that hand gesture was to all the listeners out there. That was to do with open borders at the Channel crossings. I've just opened the border up and let all these migrants cross. Was it over 35,000 now?
Yeah, it's not just about that, though. It's just the overall incompetence of the government. It's the economic factors, the market factors, the people's mortgages, and the fact that we're going to go through probably another round of austerity soon. Nobody's going to accept that, Charlie. Nobody's going to tolerate it. You're going to see, if you're looking for a general strike, the Conservatives are the party for the general strike. That's them for you. Then they're never going to change, unfortunately. They've got themselves into this situation, and they're going to get themselves into an even worse situation, regardless of what they do now.
Or 2 Remainers leading the country. That's all I can say. Liz Truss and Jeremy Hunt both didn't like Brexit, and as a result, a mass immigration crisis like no other. Can we get the migrants crossings down? Suella Braverman has actually tackled them as well. And more in a minute on another group that have been causing disruption this week, mentioning my final segment of the show. Moving on now to the Russian invasion of Ukraine. This week has been a tragedy for both sides. I will say that for one thing, because Russia this week have lost their own troops, but at the same time, Vladimir Putin has launched revenge missile strikes and air raids across Ukraine, killing dozens of civilians. I just want to say to the Russian president, you are you are just a supreme war killer, if you ask me. You are a villain. You honestly act like Voldemort from Harry Potter, kind of like that, really. There's just been horrendous strikes this week in Ukraine, and obviously Kiev this week's been attacked. Several missile strikes. Thank goodness one week during the week, a BBC reporter who was actually doing some reporting out there narrowly missed being killed after a missile strike landed, I think, near Volodymyr Zelensky's government offices as well. It has been a disaster for the whole country, and just seeing missiles raining down, hundreds of, like nearly 85 missiles in one day. It's like the Blitz of 1940. Why would the Ukrainian people want that to happen? Why do they want the Russians to continuously doing what it is? It is. I mean, Zach, what do you make of Vladimir Putin's blitzkrieg approach this week in Ukraine with his death and destruction of the population?
Yeah, and I think to be honest, Charlie, I think it's gonna get worse, but I'll tell you that's why in a minute, as well. But yeah, Vladimir Putin has not forgotten Kyiv. Let's just be honest about that. Obviously, I think this is a retaliation to the fact that obviously the Ukrainians struck that the Crimean bridge. Last week we saw that big strike on that bridge by the Ukrainians. This week it appears Russia have got their revenge by trying to strike targets in the very centre of the capital of Ukraine, in Kyiv, very much as well. And the destruction that it caused was pretty much obvious from what we've seen as well. It's very much destructive and dangerous attack by the Russians, and they've targeted so much areas. Now they're under attack at the moment, I have to say, in Kherson. They may be providing a bit more resilience there. The Ukrainian progress is much slower there at the moment, but again, Kherson is endangered by the Russians at the moment, and the Ukrainians are trying to get that very much back under control at the moment. So yeah, it's a slow and steady progress. The Russians have been successful at doing retaining some defensive positions there, but it's a very slow and steady progress for Ukraine at the moment to try and regain Kherson as well. Now, where I'm really worried about, Charlie, and I'm going to tell you what I'm pretty much concerned about as well, is I don't think Russia is done with Kyiv yet. Now, you may have seen in the last few days, and this has been quite obvious, that a bunch of Russian troops, a number of them, have been moving into Belarus as well. Belarus is setting up a joint system with Russia to, by what they call is counter, basically set up a defense group to, prevent any attacks on their country and protect their borders, basically. Now, what that probably is where they're going is they're probably going to Minsk in the capital to transport equipment, artillery equipment, weapons, all that sort of thing as well. That's been moving from Russia into Belarus. Now, what do I think might happen? What I've been reading on social media, I think that Russia and possibly even Belarus as well, because it looks like Belarus is going to be dragged into this as well, may be starting to do another attempt at attacking Kyiv from Belarus. I think the evidence has been quite obvious from what I'm seeing as well, with moving the equipment in, moving the soldiers in as well. It looks like the Russians are going to try and do an attack on Kyiv through Belarus as well. And it's quite serious as well, because the Chinese have had to evacuate their citizenship and diplomats in Ukraine, as well as several other countries as well. That's quite interesting to see. Now, if the Chinese and several other countries are evacuating diplomats from Ukraine and Kyiv, that suggests something to me. That's the Russia are preparing, I mean, possibly Belarus are starting to prepare for something as well. So yeah, one to keep an eye out on for. And there's also a National Security Council meeting that Russia is doing with Vladimir Putin as well, heading that as well. So keep an eye out for possible events next week and build up in Belarus. I think that needs to be something to be kept an eye on.
And also this week as well, 2 schools in the southern Zaporizhia region of Ukraine have reported, or should I say Russia or Ukraine, wherever it is, have reportedly been destroyed by 2 Russian missile strikes as well. Schools are war crimes. They are where children learn. As well, the UN's Under-Secretary General for Humanitarian Affairs has reportedly arrived in Moscow for talks over grain exports. The White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan said it was incumbent upon NATO allies and responsible countries, including China and India, to send a very clear, decisive message to Russia that they should not contemplate the use of nuclear weapons in this conflict. So, being talk of nukes this week potentially happening. I don't think that will happen at the moment, but stay tuned for that. Watch this space. Belarus going into this conflict will just be a complete disaster as well. 423 children killed since the start of the invasion is what we've been gathering so far. Probably more were killed in that 2 Russian strikes this week. Zach, what have you made to the blitzkrieg attacks this week with the missiles raining down on Kyiv?
Yeah, it's obviously, it's been, as I say, it's been quite shocking to see what.
And that BBC reporter as well.
Yeah, as well. Quite what a report that was. And yeah, Zaporizhia as well, as you might have seen going on with the school, with the civilian attacks in schools. I mean, that's just why. Just why. It's uncalled for. And it's just unnecessary. It's a dreadful situation for those poor children who've had their schools attacked, and it's not going to end as well. There's going to be more bombings, I'm afraid, and attacks of these civilian and crucial infrastructure. That's unnecessary. But I really do think that the attacks are going to escalate even more over the next few weeks.
Have a listen quickly to this video to all listeners out there. I'm going to play for you this video of exactly how this BBC correspondent in Kyiv was interrupted as rockets strike the Ukrainian capital. Have a listen to this.
Full of symbolism. So the fear is that this could trigger a very strong Russian response. We saw yesterday that a residential area of the city of Zaporizhia, a major city in the south of the country, very close to the front lines, was hit. More than a dozen. So.
Oof.
Okay, Hugo Bashega there, our correspondent in Kyiv, obviously.
There you go. It's only a short video, but boy, that bang, that loud bang, the decimation, the explosion of that missile there, landing not too far away from that reporter in Kyiv. I just want to say all the reporters have been at Ukraine this week have been really brave, because anywhere they go, they could be in trouble. They could be killed. These missiles are they are basically bombs they're flying rocket bombs. Think of what Adolf Hitler used during the Second World War, as we call the doodle bug, flying bombs that landed and destroyed our country. Well, it's the same thing what's happening in Ukraine, but on a much greater scale. So that's all the news from Ukraine. Now, we're going to move on and touch on the final part of the week's news, which is the NTAs, the National Television Awards, which took place on Thursday, which was a television showbiz style award ceremony that recognised television shows across the United Kingdom, hosted by comedian Joel Dommett. Unfortunately, Anton Deck could not be at the ceremony due to both of the Geordie presenters testing positive for COVID-19. So we wish Anton Deck a speedy recovery on this show. We hope to see them back in a few weeks on I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here in Australia, where already some celebrities have been signed up. We'll go through them in a minute. But Zach, lots of winners this week, including I'm a Celebrity winning the Sir Bruce Forsyth Best Entertainment Award.
Yeah, several big nights of awards actually from the National Television Awards as well. It was a big night for people like and Anton Deck, I'm a Celebrity, a lot of award winners from that night, which is obviously hosted by Joel Dommett for the second year running, as well. But I'm going to try and find actually who won. So we know what one of the winners. Let's start with Lenny Henry, because he won the Special Recognition Awards for his career in television. Obviously, he's been hosting Comic and Sport Relief for many years, and his work on there has been fantastic, and his comedy has been great as well. He's been a writer, campaigner, comedian, and as well. And Whoopi Goldberg has described it as, if you want to know what a superhero looks like, take a look at Lenny Henry. I certainly agree on that one, no doubt about it. But yeah, let's go through the winners. Obviously, Lenny Henry won the Special Recognition Awards. New drama this year was Trigger Point. They won Best New Drama for that one as well. Drama performance was Cillian Murphy. What reward for her, actually, no doubt about it. The quiz game show was Beat the Chasers. It's that multi-chase game show hosted by Bradley Wells, that one quiz game show. Talent show, Strictly Calm Dancing. Not surprised. It's obviously, I don't watch that much, but it's clear to see why it continues to win Best Talent Show every year.
Narrowly missed out by The Masked Singer as well, to all those people who love watching celebrities wearing a mask.
Yeah, a bit of a shame, really. I would have preferred that over Strictly Calm Dancing, but I can understand why that's done. Won the award as well. But authored documentary, Kate Garraway won an award, Caring for Derek, because she went through obviously that torrid time with Derek, where her husband Derek fighting the COVID and a fight hospitalization as well. But yeah, it was a great award for Kate Garraway. Serial drama went to Emmerdale, the soap as well. I don't watch Emmerdale, but they clearly won at the soap. Daytime was This Morning. Might be a bit controversial, that one. As well.
For skipping the queue, getting booed as well.
I don't think they skipped the queue this time to win an award, but that's debatable. The returning drama was Peaky Blinders. Yeah, I've never watched that one, but it's a very good one as well. Best Expert, and I'm really pleased this person won. Martin Lewis won Best Expert Award. Not surprised. The Martin Lewis Money Show. He's been an essential source of information and financial advice. He's brilliant. He's on the point. He's accurate. He's on the detail. No wonder why he won Best Expert as well. Best Comedy went to Afterlife. Really interesting comedy show there as well. Best TV Presenter went to Ant Deck, who couldn't be there this year because they had COVID, unfortunately. Factor Entertainment, I really like this one. The Factor Entertainment went to Gogglebox, and rightly so.
Unlucky for Clarkson's Farm, who I have to say, if you watch Clarkson's Farm, Jeremy Clarkson and Caleb Cooper on Amazon, actually really good little sitcom. I'd recommend that to anyone, really.
Yeah. And two final ones. Best serial drama performance went to Mark Charnock, and Best Talent Show judge went to Anton Dubek of the Strictly Dancing as well. Very, very good, very wonderful lad as well. So that was the NTA Awards, and won there and the winners this year.
Yeah, and also King Charles III made an appearance talking about the climate change. I thought this king was meant to be neutral on things. So, King Charles goes back to his climate change antics again. I don't want to get too much into politics, but congratulations to all the winners there of the NTAs. And just quickly, before we move on and do the sports news now, we have had some signings for I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. Obviously, Anton Deck at the moment are resting up at home with coronavirus. We wish him luck. But the rumoured lineup is apparently being on the list. Now, obviously, this isn't confirmed yet, but we do have an idea of who's competing. We do know, though, exactly some of the people that are competing. So Mike Tyndall is now one of the celebrities that has also been selected. And also Radio X presenter Chris Moore has also been apparently rumoured to be going on. And Zach, this could be an interesting year this year for I'm a Celebrity.
Yes, obviously it's returning to Australia for the first time in well, 3 years actually last time as well. Is we've finally got the teaser trailers that are coming out as well. I've seen it as well. It's a very much a traditional approach to the Australian jungle as well. So they're back in Australia this year, the natural home of I'm a Celebrity, because after being in the castle for 2 years, I liked it when it was in the castle, but obviously it has to go to its natural home. But there's a lot of rumours about who could be on there this year. So let me tell you some rumours. Some of it included a royal family member, unlikely. There's also rumours about Mike Tyndale, a former rugby professional. Danny Dyer, maybe. Who knows? He's leaving his role in EastEnders, so this could be a good idea to go into the jungle. Tom Daly, Nadia Hussain, Thomas Skinner, Oti Mabuse, all rumoured so far. I know Chris Moyles is one of them that's been mentioned as well. So there's a few big names that are, have been rumoured out there. Let me also talk about some others that are potentially going about as well. Obviously, you mentioned Mike Tyndale as well. Sue Cleaver, best known for playing Ellen Grimshaw in Coronation Street. Obviously, there's Chris Moyles, used to be Ray One DJ, Ray presents Radio X. Charlene White, one on Loose Women, used to be an ITV News presenter as well. Back to the Alicia, rumours as well. He's a comedian, friends with Mo Gillian and going on Celebrity Gogglebox. Sean Welsh, maybe best known for coming on Strictly. Olivia Atwood is another one that's been rumoured. Boy George as well, interesting. Yeah. That's very, could be a good fit. As I said, Tom Day as well. Owen Warner, a Hollyoaks actor. Danny Dyer. Also another one, Adebayo Akinfinwa, I can't pronounce his name. He's also used to be a footballer as well. Used to be played for Millwall, Wimbledon, Swansea, Wickham as well. Mike Dean is another one. Imagine Mike Dean going on I'm a Celebrity out of all people, referee as well. Layla Rosaus is another one. Natalie Cassidy obviously plays in EastEnders as well. But they're all the rumours, and we're going to find out because the new series is going to start in probably a few weeks' time. Actually, sometime in November. But yeah, a lot of rumours about who's going to go in and who's going to go out.
Oh, I cannot wait for a return to I'm a Celebrity in Australia. It's going to be brilliant. Be much hotter than Wales. I can say that for one thing. The frostbite won't be there. It'll be more swelter bite, I'm sure. Snake Rock is back for the losers. Going in this Range Rover or this old Jeep thing to Snake Rock, and the winners of the challenges go to a lovely Croc Creek. Let's hope. I mean, the camps are still going to be far from luxurious. They're basic for a few weeks. Oh no. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to say how they're going to get on. But I'm a Celebrity is back very soon. I cannot wait. We're certainly coming in towards the autumn and winter of 2022 now. But we're going to move on and talk about the sports news now. Now, obviously, Formula One action returns next week. They will be going to Austin for the United States Grand Prix. So we'll keep you updated when our broadcasting will be on for the Charlie Tolhurst show next week. But moving on now, we're going to talk all about NASCAR to open this off with. Now, I have watched the highlights of the Charlotte Roval race, so I can tell you who won it, and it's Christopher Bell. I'm not even sure how many races he's won this season, but he got a decisive win at the Charlotte Roval. He pitted late for a fresh set of tyres, and carnage on the last few laps, Zach, saw Christopher Bell win, and there was plenty of it. Chase Elliott even got knocked out late on as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Chase Elliott was probably one of the favourites to win up to the point where he got spun out on the vast few laps of the race. But as you say, it's Charlotte Roval is chaotic, Charlie, and it determined a few points in the driver's stand as well. Christopher Bell winning that most important race as well. In the process as well, given the finish positions, Christopher Bell won that one, obviously, so getting himself into the final eight ahead of Kevin Harvick, ahead of Kyle Busch, ahead of AJ Allmendinger, ahead of Justin Haley, Chris Butcher, ahead of Bubba Wallace, Tyler Reddick, ninth, and Austin Dillon in 10th. Now, there was a few things that going on that forced people out of the playoff as well. But Christopher Bell managed to get his way through with that important victory. Overall, it was a chaotic race. Overall, as well. On a roval, it's extremely fun because it's unpredictable. A lot can happen. As well, there's so much unpredictability that it resulted in Christopher Bell winning the race when he wasn't really, to be fair, the favourite, to be honest. As well, it was quite. I mean, it could have been Chase Elliott's one to win. So yeah, it was a good race overall, and quite a good ending with Christopher Bell winning. As well. Now, currently, there's action going on as we speak, Charlie. It's the South Point 400 at the moment at Las Vegas. I can tell you something all right at the moment. It's obviously Ryan Blaney on that 153. It's leading at the moment. There has been some drama today already. I've been watching it just before we spoke. And there's been a bit of a tussle between Kyle Larson and Bubba Wallace. They had ended up with a crash in the middle of the race, Charlie. It looks like that Larson got loose up into turn 4, and Bubba Wallace became a victim of it. But Bubba Wallace was so peed off they ended up turning Kyle Larson on the front stretch and collecting the playoff last week's winner, Christopher Bell, during the middle of the race as well. And it resulted in Bubba Wallace and Kyle Larson having a fight in the middle of the circuit.
God.
Quite the scene as well during the middle of the race. But at the moment, Ryan Blaney's leading. I expect there may be a possible punishment for Bubba Wallace based on what I saw for his actions. The way he turned and retaliated at Kyle Larson and taking another competitor with him was just unacceptable. And I can see punishment as well. Some news as well this week, Charlie. Kurt Busch, let's talk about him. He's out for the rest of the season, and he's also announced he's stepping back from full-time racing in 2023. He's currently recovering from concussion as well, because after his little crash as well. But he's going to step back from full-time racing in 2023, and that means Tyler Reddick is going to go into the number 23 car full-time from 2023. Now, Kurt Busch said he's stepping back from full-time racing. That means there's going to be most likely some races that he will take part in next year, but he stepped back from full-time racing. We just obviously wish his recovery well as well. He's had concussions from an incident from July as well. He's not clear to race, and he's also going to step back from racing full-time next year as well. Or obviously wish Kurt the best. He's had 776 career Cup Series starts, 34 wins, and 339 top 10 finishes. And it appears to me, his full-time career is over now. But, hopefully we'll see him at a few races next year as well.
Yeah, indeed. And also an update on the playoffs as well. Chase Elliott currently leads the standings. But the eliminated drivers from last week was last year's champion Kyle Larson, Daniel Suarez, Austin Cindric, and Tyler Reddick became the drivers that missed out on the round of 8. That is currently occupied from Chase Briscoe all the way up to Chase Elliott. And they will race this, and they are currently racing this weekend at the Bank of America Roval. They then, at South Point, sorry. Then we have the Dixie Vodka 400, which will be another one. And then I think there are 2 more races afterwards, which will, I think, then determine who will be in the playoffs and stuff like that. I think it's the Xfinity's the final race of the round of 8. And then the final 4 will race at Phoenix for the season finale 500, 400, whatever it's called. Season finale 500, I think it is, where one driver will be crowned the champion. So it's all playoff format. So yeah, NASCAR is certainly coming off to an end very soon. There's plenty of news from that. We're going to now round up all of the weekend's footy action now. The Premier League. One of my uncles told me to. So one of my uncles has certainly been looking forward to this. I know who that is. And Yes. One shock result today, actually, in the Premier League, which I want to bring you first, actually. Liverpool have just beaten Manchester City 1-0 as well in the Premier League today, which is very interesting as well. But we'll go through the weekend's fixtures. The Friday fixture saw Brentford a surprisingly 2-0 win against Brighton. A very shock result there for Brighton.
Good result for them.
Away. Leicester and Palace a 0-0 draw. Wolves 1, Nottingham Forest 0. Fulham and Bournemouth was a 2-2 draw. Tottenham won 2-0 at Everton. Southampton and West Ham was a draw at 1-1. Manchester United Newcastle was goalless. Arsenal 1, Leeds United 0. Chelsea were 2-0 winners at Aston Villa, and Liverpool there winning the shock win of the weekend there. I want to say shock, but really they should be higher than that. 1-0 win against Manchester City. That was at Anfield. Zach, what did you make of the weekend's football action?
Yeah. Let's go through some of it. As obviously, I watched most of the games. Brentford, Brighton. Brentford pretty much dominated during that 2-0 win on Friday against Brighton as well. Very, very good results. Very good attack from Brentford. Leicester City and Crystal Palace, the most boring game of the season, perhaps. I didn't watch that one because I was out. But yeah, no goals scored. I think it was 1.73 goals expected on target. Dreadful game overall, Charlie. An absolute dreadful, miserable game overall with no goals scored and very little shots on target. Wolves, a 1-0 victory over Nottingham Forest. Wolves have got their season back on track after their manager was sacked. So they're running a temporary one at the moment. But a temporary manager winning over the permanent manager is quite something. Even his day-to-day. Steve Cooper, by the way, signed a long-term extension with Nottingham Forest. I didn't expect him to be awarded with losses in the Premier League at all. As well, Fulham Bournemouth, more of a sort of a local one. This one, a 2-2 draw. The two promotees this season. Wow, that was good. That was a good game. I tell you that. Two goals to each. As well, Issa Diop, Mitrovic for Fulham, and Solanke and Lamama for Bournemouth with the most important goals. Tottenham with pretty much a good display as well. A much better, slightly off in the first half, better second half. A penalty of Harry Kane and Pierre Højbjerg in the 86th minute as well. It was an important result for them. Southampton West Ham was a 1-1 draw. Southampton dominant in the first half. West Ham a much better team overall in the second half with Declan Rice scoring an important goal. There is Man United and Newcastle held to a draw as well. Ronaldo was furious of being subbed off. Newcastle is now only 1 point behind Manchester United in the table, which probably tells you something as well. That's quite the sea change. Overall, Leeds and Arsenal. Leeds got 2 penalties in the match towards the end, but they missed both. Well, didn't miss both penalties. One was they missed one penalty. The other one was overturned by VAR, which means Leeds a loss to Arsenal. Bukayo Saka in the 35th minute as well. That game was delayed actually because there was communication issues during the match. So I think there was like a 40-minute delay because there was communication problems during the match with VAR and the referees. So that means that no, they couldn't run the game overall. Well, quite a thing to be seen. Aston Villa lost 2-0 to Chelsea. The question's starting to rise, I think, for Steven Gerrard now. I think, Charlie, because they're important. Graham Potter's gone what has pretty much been undefeated in all his 5 matches he's done for Chelsea so far. Mason Mount with a double in the 6th and 65th minute. And what a match Liverpool Man City was. Jurgen Klopp got sent off, but it still didn't prevent Mo Salah scoring a winning goal in the 76th minute and holding on as well. Good match overall for that one. There is match in midweek coming up this week. We've got a new match day in midweek. It's Brighton and Nottingham Forest and Palace v Wolves on Tuesday. On Wednesday, no Arsenal v Manchester City because Arsenal's playing in the Europa League on the Thursday, fulfilling a postponed fixture from earlier this season. Bournemouth, Southampton, Liverpool v West Ham, Brentford, Chelsea, Newcastle, Everton on the Wednesday. The big match of the week on the Wednesday is Man United v Tottenham. That's going to be a very important match, I think, overall. And then on the Thursday, it's Fulham v Aston Villa and Leicester v Leeds as well. And then on the Saturday, it will be Nottingham Forest against Liverpool. That'll be a nice local one. Everton v Palace, City v Brighton, Chelsea v Manchester United, the big match on as well on Saturday, and then on Sunday we've got a mix of Wolves v Leeds, Villa v Brentford, Southampton Arsenal, Leeds Fulham, and Tottenham v Newcastle. And on the Monday, the 24th, will be West Ham v Bournemouth as well to end match day 13 and 12 as well. So big, busy week of football ahead, Charlie.
Yeah, and they're getting it all in because of the World Cup, which is coming up very, very soon.
Absolutely.
In about a month's time in Qatar. Going to be a hot one for that. So, players, can England finally get back to winning ways after their disastrous last few matches as an international team? Sorry to say that to the men's, the women's ended up winning the Euros. Kind of mocked them there, I know that. Time now for Charlie's good news. Oh, you know what? I am going to watch this later on. There will be no voice update this week. Even though I have already watched 2 teams get selected. We will go through. I am just going to say Will and Ollie have already picked their 2 teams. Anne-Marie and Tom are still left to do that. But I'll let you know, guys, next week about the 4 teams that have been selected. So this week's Charlie's Good News is going to be something a little bit different. It's not really going to be a good news segment this week. Because coming back to good news now, we're going to change the segment up this week to a Conversation Corner segment, which is coming back. Now, Conversation Corner is coming back this week because I want to talk about something very, very important. Now, I'm going to talk about smoking. Now, smoking is something that a lot of us do. I don't smoke at all. I can tell you that for one thing.
Neither do I.
I'm sure that you don't as well. And smoking has become the forefront of debate recently. The government reckon, and what they obviously Liz Truss said as well, that she wants Britain to become a smoke-free country by 2030. Now, obviously, smoking has its factors, it has its non-factors, and obviously we have the use of cigarettes and obviously the use of the e-cigarettes, which is the vapes. And we also have smoke-free zones, and we also have a nightclub, and also nightclubs as well with smoking places with smoking. That there have been new laws introduced. Now, the question I want to ask you guys tonight is this: do you think we should see smoking banned in the UK indoors and in general in many public places? Because the thing is that smoking, there is long-term effects that it can do to your body. It could maybe give you cancer. It could give you problems with your body. It can be serious health-wise. Obviously, smoking normal cigarettes. We obviously knew what happened with Amber Partling through alcohol addiction, as well as that. There is a lot of factors, and that's why I'm bringing this conversation into all the listeners tonight. It's a slightly different segment. Do you think smoking in this country should be tackled and changed for the better? Do you think smoking should be banned, or do you think that cigarettes in this country should be dropped completely and people use vapes? Now, Zach, I'm going to bring you on to this because obviously the government have issued like their own plea this week to try and tackle this. What do you make of smoking in this country, and particularly its effect in, say, health-wise, and also in areas like nightclubs where potentially places like this could see them banned?
I think personally, let's just take this as well. If you're smoking in your own environment, like your personal house or back garden, then I don't think the government should get involved. Quite frankly, I don't think it's appropriate. To be honest, I completely understand why there'd be need to ban it further in public places, and all that sort of thing. But yeah, I personally think I'd find ways to cut down the smoking if possible, because I think it obviously damages you quite a lot. I know some people use it just to calm themselves down, but they don't realize that one effect of calming yourself down can result in another effect as well of long-term health issues. So let's just say this: in your own home, in your own property, and on a quiet residential area, yeah, I'd be fine with it. So if you do it in a park, for example, I don't see that as a problem. I do not see that as a problem. However, if you're in a big town centre with a lot of people going by, and in car parks as well, with a lot of people going to be walking, then I think it should be banned as well. I think, you know, in highly popular areas, it should be banned. In rural areas, in your back garden, in your own property,
No.
as well, with others' permission, then you should be okay with it. The government should not get involved in that. The government don't need to be in any state in that one. So more public places, yes. Over in popular areas such as, you know, town centres, city centres,
Yeah.
where it's all dense and a lot of people will walk by, then yeah, I think it should be banned in those areas. But in areas that are quietly communal areas that are not very popular at all, then no. And if you want to do it in your own home or outside your back garden, then the government should not really interfere with that. Then I don't think I think that should be the case.
What about individual businesses like, say, entertainment venues, obviously like nightclubs? Because obviously some of these venues, like some of these venues may have their own rules, and obviously like nightclubs as well, you get a lot of people going in and that. Do you think businesses have to make, and obviously there was rules introduced, like legislation to stop people smoking. Do you think that individual businesses need to look at enforcing the rules, like particularly entertainment venues, for people to like use outside safer smoking areas?
I think it should be banned for like nightclubs, businesses, any indoor venues, shopping, pub. We know it's banned in most areas, but cinemas, nightclubs, and I think vapes should be gone as well. I mean, vapes is much more healthier, but especially puffing smoke in people's faces, outside in stadiums, all should be banned. I'm sorry. Anywhere that's, you know, you're going to be gathering with a crowd of people, should be banned, because quite frankly. So in dense areas, in popular areas, festivals, as well, it all should be banned, and not should be used. Like I said, the only areas where it should be done are private community areas such as your own home, and unrural parks, you know, all that sort of thing. That should be back. That's all right. That no government interference in that, but popular places should be banned.
Yeah, I agree, Zach, absolutely. And I think the government, obviously on your own home, it's different, but when you're out in public, you got to take care of asthmatic people, and it's an interesting one. Smoking, there are different ways of your smoking. Obviously, our famous Prime Minister, Winston Churchill, used to go out and have a smoke now and again. And obviously, Simon Cowell as well, he's attempting to quit smoking for good. And also, it says the Observer View reckons dangers of assuming vaping is safer alternative. Well, I've got to say, vaping's better, but not that great. And obviously, with smoking in general, I think people have got to be careful, and it's your choice at the end of the day, but it's about where you do it. Obviously, if you go outside to do it, that's fine. But remember, health consequences matter a lot, especially in their own way. I want people to be sensible with it. That's what I think they should do. Should the government get involved and bring in new legislation? It's up to you. So that's the subject of conversation corner. I'm going to quickly do my good news segment this week. It's only going to be a very quick one this week, because my good news segment this week is going to be talking about something very, very important now that I just want to quickly share with you from the local community. Whilst we're here, obviously, guys, the local news around Basildon, the local news particularly around Essex, is a very important issue that I want to go through, and I want to say exactly how people can help. Now, this is going to be on the subject this week of a football club, Southend United Football Club, Southend City, should I say, kicks off with an inclusive aim. Now, the whole point of this aim is to bring more people into sport. I'm going to go through it right now, exactly what it is. So my good news for this week is, in the wake of England's women's football team, aka the Lioness, a brand new football team has been launched, but the club have many ambitions, not only for women. The faces behind Southend City Football Club, Terry Rice and Rayleigh and Alice Baker from Pixie, two people who have both lived and breathed football from an early age. Alice said it began, Terry put a post on Facebook for getting women's football. Alice said that she got in touch, did all my coaches badge with Newcastle 10 years ago, the day of business, something decided she'd take the football on and she'd like to do business as well. Following the women byline, and Southend Women's Football Club was needed, and we have a really good response. Both have a men and women's team too, and both women's and football sessions have started with plans for a youth academy in the new year. I have to say, bringing local football teams to your community is actually a really good thing. Sport in general, particularly football, is one of the most popular sports in the country, and I think doing this will actually improve it. So what do you make to this initiative that they've set up here at Southend City?
Yeah, it's a great initiative, but I always think that finding more ways and getting more people into the sort of things that they do is necessary, and inclusion is just so much welcome. Whatever background, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to come from, and whatever your circumstances, inclusion and diversity is such a welcome thing that we should cherish, and whatever environment you're in. And that Southend doing a great job to make sure that they are doing the things of inclusion and making people welcome, and that's great to see.
Yeah, well, that's all my good news this week. We're going to round that back up again next week. Now it's time for the latest look at the papers, where we have plenty of newspapers coming out for Monday already. Well, tomorrow's papers today certainly are on the front pages. Well, should I say we've got a few front pages out. The Mirror goes, Tory MPs saying to Liz Truss, the Prime Minister, quit now, more market chaos beers to spark more U-turns. The Daily Express goes to D-Day for the Prime Minister, will more U-turns save our economy? The Daily Express going for that this week. Also, Grim Blue Line reports savages by the Met Police as well. That's after what's happened this week with London crimes. The Eye Weekend goes for Liz Truss again, ruling their leadership. The Metro goes, Tories in Truss turmoil. The plots thicken. Rebels want Sunak Mordaunt ticket. Others scheme to make Wallace Prime Minister. Plot-free Chancellor tit for top job. Backs Truss on TV. Zach, what do you make to the latest papers that's been released so far?
Yeah, obviously only 4 papers out at the moment, but I'm sure there's going to be coming out a bit more actually whilst we get coming up to 10 o'clock actually, as well, where all the papers normally do come out as well. We'll probably get a few more after as well. But let's start off with the Mirror. It goes with, understandably, PM on the brink. Tory MPs quit now. This is according to them. Trio Brent Rants call for Truss to resign. Market chaos big to spark more U-turns as well. So let's just talk about the 3 that have come out this evening. Obviously, it's Andrew Bridgen, Crispin Blunt, and Jamie Wallace have all come out and called on the PM to resign. Now, as I said, Charlie, this is like, 6 weeks into their premiership? And there's 3 of them that publicly come out. Now, I'm expecting a bunch of more announcements tomorrow. That's what I'm expecting, to be fair. As well, there's rumours over the weekend that perhaps 100 letters have already gone into Graham Brady, and if you think about it, 100 letters would be enough, would pass the 5% threshold for no confidence vote. But what saves the PM at the moment is that she's exempt for a whole year for basically having a no confidence vote, because we already had one a few months ago. If we remember rightly, after the Platinum Jubilee, there was not another no confidence vote. We had a no confidence vote then, and the PM survived it. So technically, under the rules, for a year, she doesn't have to face a no confidence vote, which would rattle Tory MPs quite a lot. But obviously, we know that there can be a rule change. If the 1922 committee wanted to pursue that rule change, and they may well do eventually, who knows? The markets are all going to be interested to come up over this week, Charlie, because they're going to be the key indicator to where Tory MPs move or not, to see if the market is stabilising, what reaction they're going to get out of there. As well, the Daily Express goes for D-Day for PM. Will more U-turns save our own economy? In a desperate bid to convince financial markets, Britain has a viable plan and save her premiership. The PM has all but abandoned Trussonomics. Yeah, what's left of it, to be fair, Charlie? What is even left of it? First of all, we had the 45p it deducts tax rate abolition for the wealthiest. That's been eventually been restored and not gone ahead. We've had the corporation tax that was supposed to go down to was supposed to go up to 25%. Then Liz Truss decided it should stay at 19%, but it's now going to go back up to 25% because because Jeremy Hunt has basically agreed that move for as the new chancellor, which forced Nadine Cozy Kwarteng to be sacked. It tells you something. The Tories are just having to do this to save the markets now and save their own premiership. This is a complete humiliation for the Prime Minister, no matter what, because she pledged to do most of these things, and yet she's having to delay it. This is really, embarrassment for the Prime Minister in many ways of what the last week has gone. It's become total after about the IGO's trust faces challenges within days. Prime Minister could be evicted from number 10 this week as few Tories step up plots to remove her. MPs tell I to expect a change that would make Truss Britain's shortest serving leader in history. The problems the Rebels have, I have to say, is very simple. They don't know which unity candidates go for. I mean, we've heard many rumours of a unity candidate and what possibly they could go for. Some saying Sunak, some saying Penny Mordaunt, some saying even Ben Wallace for that effect. There is no agreement on a unity candidate, unfortunately. There is a split between the Rebels on which one to go for, even if there is one. So it doesn't appear that, despite the fact the efforts of the Rebels to change the Prime Minister, you could still well be in the job for the next couple of weeks because the MPs don't know decide which one to rally around, and we could be stuck in this system of system of stillness where both sides can't agree on anything, and we end up with the same, which will cause even more divisions for the Conservative Party as well. And the Metro goes for interesting. Tories in Trust Terminal. The plot thickens. Plot 1, Rebel wants Sunak Mordaunt ticket. Plot 2, others keen to make Wallace PM. Plot 3, Chancellor tip for top drop badge. Truss on television. As well. So yeah, there's 3 different plots going on here. At the moment, Rebels want Sunak Mordaunt. Others want to make Wallace PM. Ben Wallace previously ruled that out. So yeah, there's a lot of different opinions on where to go with this, isn't there? So no doubt about it, as well. But they can't agree on an actual successor.
Just call a general election if you're not sure, personally.
Yeah, exactly. Call a general election. Seriously, the public are not going to go with this topsy-turvy, play ball, let's down your turn, here's my turn, your turn. They're not going to take that, Charlie. Speaking of which, I want to talk about something that's just come out this evening, if that's okay with you, Charlie. I'm going to try and find it here. Opinion have released a new opinion poll. This is an MRP poll. So this is a very realistic poll courtesy of more members of the public.
Yeah.
They have released a new MRP poll, which basically takes in constituency factors as well as national polling. And if a general election was held today, this poll would say that Labour would end up on 411 seats in Parliament at the next general election. The Conservatives would be left with 137, which is even worse than what they was in the 1950s. The Lib Dems would be left on 39, probably because this poll takes into fact local political matters, which means somewhere in areas like the Blue Wall, which is traditionally Conservative, that probably gone to Liberal Democrats, could gain even more seats than that. And the SNP would be on 37 seats as well. So the SNP could lose seats because Labour could make gains in Scotland as well. But this is an opinion poll that's going to come out at fully at 10:30, being reported in the media already by as well. So yeah, a new opinion MRP poll, a more representative poll, has come out with a seat-by-seat prediction saying that the Conservatives would be on their worst result since 1906, Charlie, as well. That situation that they face themselves in. The Telegraph has just come up with a new paper, by the way. They come out, Mordaunt, we need stability, not a soap opera. Truss's former leadership rider called for Unity's rebel order Tory PM to resign as well. So Penny Mordaunt is obviously not interested in the top role at the moment, according to what the Daily Telegraph has come out with as well. And they so let's just go through it. I'm just going to resume in and see what it says as well. Britain needs stability and not a soap opera. Penny Mordaunt has written for in the Telegraph today, calling for Tory MPs as well to unite around Liz Truss. So I don't think her pleas will be awarded, unfortunately, but as well. But it's going to be a chaotic week, I think, ahead as well. I think in Westminster, certainly to that effect, Charlie. That's the papers for now. I don't think there's much more that's coming out. Oh, the Independent's just come out with a paper, Charlie, and the game is up. Senior Tories call MP to quit. This is obviously what they've said as well. Malcolm Rifkin is the latest one calling for Liz Truss to go. Obviously, she's a very famous figure as well. And also, the Independent splashes with the front page of Gigi Ting, because it's the general meeting of the Chinese Communist Party.
Gigi Ting. Oh no.
Yeah. So, and it looks like they're going to give
there we
another
go.
term to Xi Jinping, a third
yes.
term as well, and probably forever in the role as the president of the People's Republic of China. As well. They're also going to talk about Taiwan as well. He's not ruled out using force to be able to get Taiwan to unite with China as well. So a lot more on that front as well. But that, I believe, is the latest papers that have come out today so far, Charlie.
Hashtag, we don't want Xi Jinping invading Taiwan and sticking his people in isolation huts for 2 weeks. By the way, his zero COVID policy in China has been an utter disaster. The Chinese dictator Xi Jinping there talking about that. Now it's time for the Great British Stars and Red Devils of the Week, where I'm going to start off by nominating the British Stars this week. One of the stars is going to be Anton Deck for winning the Best Presenter of the Award at the National Television Awards for the 21st time. Despite not being there at COVID, they did win. And Stephen Mulhern got the nomination as well for ripping up the speech live on stage as well. I have to say, I was very, very surprised by that as well. It's certainly been a huge as well. It's been a huge interest in there. So I have to say, Stephen Mulhern certainly has been as well. Another great British star also goes to someone who has been competing in Formula One esports racing as well. If you watch F1, there's a little feeder series that does esports. I have the Pro Championship results here for you as well. Lucas Blakely has just sealed an incredible third win of the season at Zandvoort on Friday evening, confidently reaffirming his position as the championship leader. The Scottish driver who notched up his third win of the 2022, a fifth overall, started on the front row alongside pole sitter Thomas Rockenhart and quickly dispatched the home race hero down to turn one from wet tyres to intermediates to slicks. There was plenty of compound-based brinksmanship to navigate, but looked out contention lead, crossing the line 6.5 seconds ahead of his teammates. So I'm going to give the nomination to Lucas Blakely, the Scottish driver, for winning that esports race at Zandvoort as well. Now, I also have 3 Great British Red Devils of the Week that I'm going to nominate. Number 1 is going to be a group called Just Stop Oil. Now, if you've not seen them this week, Just Stop Oil have been causing significant disruption to the British public going about their daily business. Now, just hear what an interview which was taken on GB News the other day with Mark Stein, where he interviewed, or should I say, grilled this this incident or this Just Stop Oil protester the other day. Have a listen to this.
Alex, what has Constable got to do with stopping oil?
I think is more important, life or art? Because that's the sort of questions we're facing right now. There are millions of people being affected by the climate crisis. 33 million people in Pakistan were displaced from floods. Communities, lives, homes destroyed. A 6 times population of my country.
Wait, just explain what is the floods is a meteorological event. It's what we used to call weather. Why are you saying the Pakistan floods are climate change related?
Are you a climate denier, my friend?
I've got no view on it. We're talking about
no view on the fact that it was 40 degrees Celsius in London just a few months ago. So hot that so hot that train tracks continuously combusted. Busiest day for firefighters since World War II because 60 homes were going on wildfires in the UK. NHS was put on black alert.
No, don't. We're talking about what you guys are doing to it. People don't mind 40 degrees Celsius. Everybody
farmers
on these
all potato crops are expected to die from this year, and
everybody in these wait a minute. Everybody in these rain-sodden islands wants to go somewhere where it's 40 degrees Celsius for their summer holidays. So the idea that 40 degrees Celsius means the planet's going to... No. We're talking about you. No, we're talking about you guys getting what you want by gluing yourself to the street.
We're talking about global starvation within a decade.
No. We're talking about you guys damaging a great work of art. How does that help you save the planet?
How is the frame of that painting more important?
Well, that painting is one of the great achievements of our civilization.
Glued to the frame of that painting.
Are you opposed to human civilization?
No, I'm not. I'm actually trying to help defend it by making sure that we don't have any more fossil fuel licenses in the UK. That's what we're demanding. Because as soon as we have more oil in the UK, we're going to face societal collapse. As I say, we're already facing food shortages, and it's 2022. How bad do you think things are going to get in 10 years' time? I'm only 24. Every single year for the rest of my life, it's going to get worse.
We're talking about your plan to change the world by gluing yourself to the street. By the way, are you aware that petroleum is used not just to fill your car up and drive around, but it's used in a zillion other products? When you guys glue yourself to the street, are you aware that fossil fuel products are used in almost every superglue? Are you using fossil fuels to glue yourself to the road?
You're always going for the hypocritical argument because you know you have no other argument to fall back on. Look, you could have said all of this
I don't understand
but
the point.
At this point, we've had 40 degrees temperatures in the UK, and
thank you there to Just Stop Oil's spokesperson there. I'm not actually sure of his name, but he apparently glued himself to a Vincent van Gogh sunflower painting. They actually threw soup at it, apparently. What the hell? And then they blocked an ambulance in London. Come on, this is dangerous. Let alone the NHS waiting times have gone up. So Just Stop Oil get a nomination, along with Vladimir Putin for that barbaric week in Ukraine with the missile strikes, killing hopeless numbers of people, innocent people, by the way. A third nomination is going to shock a lot of people and a lot of Conservative voters. It's a joint one between Liz Truss and Douglas Ross, the Scottish Conservative leader, who had to walk back on these claims to say that he thinks Liz Truss can win the next general election. Well, at the moment, I think it's the role reversal. I think the Conservatives are going to get absolutely annihilated at the next general election, quite frankly, in my view. Zach, what do you make to all my nominations?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, Just Stop Oil, first of all. Why the bloody painting? That's just disgraceful. Oh, nobody's gonna convince you that your cause is good if you're going to do you're going to put oil over painting. What's the purpose? It's just disgraceful. Why even do that crap? It's there's no purpose of it at all. Although I kind of get the message on like one their Mark Stein show thing. You know, I kind of get the message, but rather than put out the message rather than do the actions that they do, it's pretty bad to be fair. As well. Right, let's get to my nominees first of all, Charlie, as well. Next up, I'm going to do 2 nominees for the British Star this week, and they're going to be quite fun nominees. So first of all, I'll tell you this right. First of all, they involve Liz Truss on both nominees, but they're 2 separate things. So first of all, I'm going to give the first nominee for the British Star this week. I am going to give it to a British software platform construct in creative agency and games developer Bart Alium of Lesius Games. So I'm going to give it to British software platform Construct. And I'll tell you why I'm going to give it to them. This week, they have created a game called In Liz We Trust. And what this game is about, it's an 8-bit game, which is, by the way, you can play for free online, and the purpose of the game is you are playing the character Liz Trust, and you are tasked with grabbing as many pound coins from British homes as possible, delivering them straight to bankers in the City of London. Yes, seriously, that is a game. There is a bit of a curveball in this, however, though, because you have to dodge you got to avoid pushback from as many politicians and people as possible. To get to your destination of the banks in London, you have to avoid people such as Keir Starmer, Michael Gove, the governor of the Bank of England, and some regional BBC journalists. You have 3 lives, and if you lose those 3, if you make contact with any of what I've just said, then you get defeated. So there's seriously a fun game in which you play Liz Truss, and you have to avoid, like Keir Starmer and Andrew Bailey, to steal as many pound coins from British homes and put it into the central bank of England. Incredible. Sums up Britain for you. The other one as well, the other nomination, I'm going to give it to the Daily Star. And the reason why I'm going to give it to the Daily Star this week is currently, as I speak, and this is still going, Charlie, they are currently running a live feed of whether Liz Truss could outlast a lettuce. No, seriously, I am not kidding you. I really am not kidding you. Hopefully, this will not crash.
Oh yes, well. No, hold on. I can actually get the paper up for you now.
Yeah,
guys.
Here we go. This is it. This is seriously.
Oh, here we go. Zach's got the paper up. Now here we go.
Well, this is Daily Star is on a live feed, or whether a lettuce, which has all looked like it's been damaged, by the way, there's a paracetamol, it's obviously knocked in the head, can outlast Liz Truss as Prime Minister. They're currently on day 3 at the moment, and the lettuce is currently going very strong. It's been given entertainment such as a disco ball and everything like that, but day 3 of a lettuce versus Prime Minister Liz Truss, and it's going all well so far for the lettuce, I think, Charlie, at the moment. So the Daily Star gets the second.
We have the Daily Star front page as well, which has just come through, which says King of Flog Off Queen's Horses and Lettuce Pray Truss Quits in the other headline as well. So incredible. Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah, incredible. Wow. So that's the Daily Star gets the second nominee. The Red Devil this week, Just Stop Oil, one of them. I'll give it to them. But I'm also going to give it to Kwasi Kwarteng for, basically being asked to do what Liz Truss told her to do and still getting sacked anyway. Perhaps the worst Chancellor of the Exchequer we have ever seen in quite a while as well, to be fair, with a lounge of delusion saying that he will remain in the job and 24 hours later being sacked from the job. I mean, Kwasi Kwarteng, probably the worst Chancellor of the Exchequer you could ever imagine in the job, and therefore gets the Red Devil as well. But the British Stars this week are obviously the platformer of In Liz We Trust, that 8-bit game, and obviously the Daily Star as well gets the British Stars, and Kwasi Kwarteng and Just Stop Oil get the Red Devils of the week, Charlie.
Yeah, I have to say the Daily Star, I think, will get a nomination for that headline because I love it. It's so funny, very comedic, and I think can a lettuce outrun Liz Truss will be the questions we'll all be asking tonight. Well, that wraps up the Charlie Tolhurst show for tonight. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you again next week for more nail-biting headlines and plenty of straight talking on the latest news and matters to you. Take care.